Thank you so much for this wonderful award, and thank you to the Press Club for considering me. I was amazed to receive it because I thought 6 years ago I received the Ultimate Award, which was a lifetime achievement. The last time I was here, Rachel Griffiths presented that wonderful Lifetime Achievement Award for me. And then she read out a long script she'd written about all the men in the industry that had treated her rather badly. I wasn't aware she was going to do that, and I was a bit shocked. And then I thought, wow, I've been ambushed. And I looked at Rachel, but she was reading on. So I started to laugh. I had to hide behind her because I was so amused, because when I looked out, all I could see were a series of horrified men with their mouths hanging open. They couldn't quite believe it. But Rachel continued on, had the time of her life, and I thought, a lot of people applauded what she said. I had a well-earned reputation for being very formidable. That started when I became an editor and I was entitled to go to the Friday night drinks-up, and one particular person used to come over and feel a bit here and there and pinch a bit there, and I'd say, don't do that. And people were sniggering. The men, I thought, were behaving rather badly. So the third time it happened, I poured myself a nice long drink of Campari, and when he came over and started his usual nonsense, I just poured it over his head. And while it was dripping down his face, he was sort of saying, oh, what am I going to tell my wife? And I said, you'll think of something, my dear. And then I said very loudly, I told you I don't like being touched, okay? And I left. When I wanted to leave the magazines, Rupert told me rather unwisely that he'd bought into Seven and was going to take close on 15%. And I said, you'll get a couple of board seats for that, won't you? And he said, well, yeah, I'll get one. And I said, thanks, I'd like that. And he said, don't be ridiculous. You're too busy. You can't do that. So, but ultimately I did get it. And Rupert made the comment, she'll keep the bastards honest, he said, because they wanted to put one of the men in that seat. It was a pretty torrid sort of role, but I ended up staying there for 23 years. When I was leaving News, Ken Cowley, who was the chief executive, gave me a lunch with several key advertisers. We were sitting there very happily, and towards the end of the lunch, one of the people there, one of the visitors, said to me, are you a feminist, Dulcie? And I said, oh, I'm a hardline feminist, very hardline. And Ken Cowley looked at me in amazement, and he said, oh, yeah? When did that happen? I'm delighted to see so many women doing so well, particularly in television. In all the networks, there are more women, and they're usually the highest paid ones too, because it's a very key role. I love the fact that there are so many women in top presenting roles in the ABC. I watch them a lot. I watch them in the morning. From when they start, I'm a very early riser. So I'm looking at you, Virginia, and Michael in the mornings. You're fabulous. Thank you.